Class 10, we'll start with the chapter 12, radioactivity, okay? So the first topic is the structure of atom and nucleus. You already have read this in chemistry, I suppose, that atom, what are the different parts of an atom? It has a central core part, right, which we call the nucleus, and an extranuclear part, right? Central core part and an extranuclear part. In the central core part of an atom, it is found that the whole mass of the atom is concentrated in the central core part of the atom. What do we call that? We call that nucleus, right? So the central part of an atom is called the nucleus, and the extranuclear part, that is the part outside the nucleus in an atom, that is the extranuclear part. So what do we have in the nucleus? In the nucleus we have two types of particles, protons and neutrons. Protons, they carry positive charge, okay, and the charge is equal to, I hope you know the charge, it's the same as that of an electron. So protons positively charged and neutrons chargeless, right? And in the extranuclear part, what do we have? We have electrons. Electrons, they are the particles, the subatomic particles which revolve around the nucleus in certain fixed orbits. What do we call that? Those orbits? Stationary orbits or different energy levels, because in different orbits the electrons will possess different energies, and as we move away from the nucleus, energy of the electrons will increase. So what is the binding force of the nucleus for which the electrons can revolve around it instead of just moving away? It is the force of attraction, electrostatic force of attraction between the protons and the electrons, which is acting as a centripetal force. Okay. So electrons are negatively charged, you know that. So charge of an electron is equal to charge of proton, and in an atom is considered to be electrically neutral unless and until some electrons are knocked out or some electrons they receive from outside, right? So an atom as a whole is electrically neutral. So that means the number of protons in the nucleus is equal to the number of electrons in the extranuclear part, right? And what do we have a name for the particles, the subatomic particles inside the nucleus? We call them nucleons. Nucleons means the subatomic particles inside the nuclear part. So those are proton plus neutron and extranuclear electrons. They carry negative charge, protons positive charge, neutrons no charge, right? And the whole mass of the atom is considered to be concentrated in the nucleus, right? And the electron, its mass is very negligible considered to that of proton, right? And already you can go through the different charge, the values of electron, proton, etc. And atom as a whole is electrically neutral. That means number of proton equal to number of electron. Now the electrons, okay. Now if I represent, how can I represent an element, say X? What does this A stands for? A stands for the mass number. Mass number means the total number of protons plus neutrons, right? That means the total number of nucleons basically, right? Mass number means the total number of protons and neutrons inside the nucleus of an atom. What does Z denote? Z denotes the atomic number. Atomic number stands for the number of protons. That means if I know the atomic number of an atom, we know the number of protons as well as we know the number of electrons also, because number of protons equal to number of electrons. And if suppose it is not electrically neutral, suppose if we have x plus 2, then also we can know number of electrons. Plus 2 means it has deficit of electrons, and minus 2, if it is a minus charge, means it has excess of electrons, right? That means it has more electrons than the protons, because as a whole it is neutral, atom is electrically neutral. So if it's carrying plus charge, that means it has deficit of electron. If it is carrying more negative charge, that means it has excess of electron, right? So you know all these things. So suppose, for example, say sodium, right? So then tell me, what is the mass number? Mass number is 23. That means number of protons plus number of neutrons is 23. What is the number of protons? 11. Number of protons 11. So if I ask you, what is the number of neutrons? How many protons are there? 11, because it's the atomic number. How many neutrons are there? How will I find out? Simply 23 minus 11. 12. How many electrons? 11, because it's electrically neutral. It's just sodium 2311. So whatever is the number of proton is the number of electron, right? So can you tell me then, I hope you know this, you have read in chemistry, 11 electron means what is the electronic configuration? Do you remember this? The maximum number of electrons in a particular orbit. What are the orbits called? Stationary orbits or the energy levels. They are named as K, L, M, N, like this. So particular number 2n, maximum number of electrons in an orbit is 2n square, where n stands for the which number of orbits. Say for the first orbit, when n equal to 1, maximum is 2. For n equal to 2, it is 2 into 2 square. So basically you will get 8. Right? So then what is electronic configuration for this then? 11. So first orbit 2, maximum. Next orbit, it can accommodate maximum 8 electrons. So 8. We are left with only 8 plus 2, 10, 1. We are left with only 1 electron. So the outermost orbit, 1 electron only. K shell, L shell, M shell. So this is just a recapitulation of these things, because you already know this electronic configuration. Now, what have we learned? That in chemical reactions, what are the subatomic particles which takes place? The electrons, right? The orbital electrons, they are the subatomic particles which take place in the chemical reactions. In this chapter, we will learn that the nuclear reactions, in the nuclear reactions, which subatomic particles will take place? The nucleons. That means the particles residing inside the nucleus. Those will take place, not the electrons. Okay, so the nuclear reactions deal with the participation of the nucleons. So that is why we will see that whenever there is a nuclear reaction, before the reaction, the sum of, say you have two reactants, whatever is the sum of their mass number or atomic number, the total sum will remain conserved after the reaction. That means for the product, the sum of atomic mass number and atomic number will be same. I'll just give you an example. Say, just see the examples. See the first one, mass number 15. See, after the reaction, we have only one reactant. What are the products? Two products. 11 plus 4, 15. See, that means mass number remains conserved. Before the reaction, whatever is the mass number. After the reaction, total sum of the mass numbers same. Atomic number 7, 5 plus 2, 7. See this one, you have 2. Okay. 235 plus 1. How much? 236 is the total mass number, right, of the two reactants. Before reaction, total mass number 236. After reaction, these are the products. What is the total mass number? 141, 92 and 1. So, therefore, that means just see 141 plus 92 plus 1, but you have 3 neutrons. Not only 1, 3. That means here it's actually 3, right? I hope you know this. Say, how do we represent neutron? We represent neutron like this. We represent proton like this. Electron like this. So, 2 neutron. That means the total mass number is 2. Okay. Say 3 proton. That means total mass number is 3. So, then just see 141 plus 92 plus 3. And here 92 plus 0, 92. Atomic number before the reaction 92 plus 0, 92. After the reaction 56 plus 36. 3 times 0 is 0. So 92 again. See, atomic number also remains same. Have you noticed? That means this is a very important point, because when you will get questions, you get certain questions in radioactivity. I'll show you what type of questions. Then you need to know this concept that the total mass number before the reaction remains same, conserved after the reaction also. Total mass number and total atomic number. Okay, that is sum of the total mass number of all the reactants remains same, that is equal to total mass number of all the products, and total atomic number of all the reactants equal to total atomic number of all the products. Now, this thing why I have mentioned, we will need it. How we represent neutron? We represent proton like this. Electron, this is because it's like, just imagine, electron has negative charge, proton positive 1, neutron 0. And since I thought that maybe you should be knowing this since I've read all these things in chemistry, but still I wanted to just recap. This is how we represent neutron, proton, electron. Okay. Now, see, I've written 3 different types of classification. Let's see. See, for this column, what is the similarity which you can notice in 3? See, atomic number, hydrogen 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1. Atomic number same here. Carbon 14, 6, 12, 6, 13, 6. Atomic number same. Atomic number same. So, atomic number same means number of protons are same. What is different then? Atomic mass number is different. See, 1, 2, 3, 14, 12, 13, 35, 37. That means number of neutrons are different, right? So, therefore, those type of substances in which, or those type of elements in which we have the number of protons same. Number of protons, that means the atomic number remains same, but atomic mass number changes. We call them isotopes. Here notice, atomic number changes. That means number of protons different. Here 6, here 7, here 11, here 12. What remains same? Atomic mass number. Number of neutrons is also different. Because see, here number of neutrons is 12. Here number of neutrons is 11. This is proton, this is neutron. Right? So, therefore just see, number of protons, neutrons are different. Then what remains same? Atomic mass number remains same. Here atomic number remains same, mass number different. Here atomic mass number same, atomic number different. Therefore different number of proton and neutron. We call them isobars. And see, special type of isobars, see, where, for example this, where 11 proton, 12 neutron, here mirror deflection, see 12 proton, 11 neutron. So this type of isobars we call them mirrored isobars. Mirror, see, just as if it's just a mirror deflection. 11 proton, 12 neutron, 12 proton, 11 neutron, like this. Then what about this type of case? Notice here that 23, 11, if you just subtract, what do you get? 12. 12 neutron, 11 proton, 12 neutron. 24, 12. That means 12 proton and 12 neutron. What remains same then? Number of neutrons. Neutrons, number of neutrons remains same. See, here also. 20 neutron, 20 neutron. Those are known as isotones. Now we will move on to radioactivity. We have completed the introduction, everything. Now we will move on to radioactivity. Now radioactivity was discovered by Henry Becquerel. He once he left a uranium compound once wrapped in a black paper on a photographic plate in a lab. So after he came, he found that there is some change in the photographic plate. So where did that change come from? He repeated this observation again. And again he found the same thing. So he concluded that from here he found that uranium specimen which he left, it was wrapped in black paper. So that means certain radiations were emitted which could penetrate through that black paper and affected the photographic plate. So this led to the discovery of radioactivity. So Henry Becquerel discovered this phenomena, radioactivity. So what is radioactivity? Radioactivity is, there are certain substances which when left as it is, those substances starts disintegrating. They starts disintegrating or decaying. Okay. By radiating certain types of emissions. By giving out certain types of emissions known as radiations or radioactive rays. So by emitting certain kind of radiations or emissions, they keep on disintegrating or decaying. So those type of substances which show this phenomena are known as radioactive substances, and the phenomena is known as radioactivity. And the radiations are known as radioactive radiations. So Becquerel discovered 3 types of rays known as Becquerel rays. One, positively charged. Another, negatively charged. Another, uncharged. So he found that radioactive elements or radioactive substances give out 3 types of radiations, 3 types of emissions. So what are the 3 types? These are later known as Becquerel rays as he discovered them. One, positively charged, positively charged particles, when the stream of positively charged particles move, known as rays. Okay, collection of stream of particles constitute the rays. Name them: alpha, negatively charged; beta, uncharged; gamma. 3 Becquerel rays. Now, can any substance disintegrate on its own by spontaneous emission of radioactive rays, forming the phenomena radioactivity? No. There are certain substances which show this phenomena. That's why we call them particularly radioactive substances. Not all substances are radioactive. So what is the cause of them? The cause is their unstable heavy nucleus. Those substances in the periodic table after lead with atomic number greater than 82, which has number of neutrons very greater than number of protons, their nuclei are considered to be unstable, heavy unstable nucleus. So they keep on disintegrating, therefore they'll keep on emitting radiations. Radiations from where? Their nucleus. Radiations, they keep on emitting this emissions, radioactive emissions, right? Radioactive rays. So they keep on emitting this emissions or radiations. How long? Till they want to attain a stable nucleus. So basically this unstable heavy nuclei will emit the radioactive rays or the radiations. They will exhibit radioactivity due to their unstable heavy nucleus. Now, for example, see this one. This is after the atomic number greater than 82, right? After lead in the periodic table. Here also, number of neutrons, see, 235 minus 92 and 238 minus 92. Number of neutrons is very high than number of protons. But it is also found that in some substances, some elements, even if the atomic number is less than 82, can show radioactivity. There are certain elements like out of the three isotopes of carbon, this show radioactivity. Why? Number of protons here is maximum 8. So here the number of neutron is greater than proton, so it shows the radioactivity. So those isotopes of the element which can show radioactivity are known as radioisotopes. Okay. Now radioactivity is a nuclear phenomena. That means no physical changes like temperature, pressure or chemical changes like freezing, heating, etc. can affect this radioactivity, the phenomena of radioactivity. Okay, it's not affected by those things. So how is that possible? If it was a chemical reaction, then it would have affected it. So it's a nuclear reaction. That means the nucleons will take part in it. Okay, it's a nuclear phenomena. And also random phenomena. That means, random phenomena means it's not possible to predict which atom will emit the rays at which time and for how much time, etc. So we call it a random phenomena.